Okay, so I want to share with y'all these tracks that I just ordered, and actually they came in the mail yesterday, and I bought 300 of them for $23, and I love these tracks. It says, "If I die tonight, where will I spend eternity?" And they are strong thought provoker because we are living in a generation that gives no thought about eternity. They just live in life like God does not exist. They are living wicked in a rebellious lifestyles. They reject the gospel of Jesus Christ. They reject God's Son, Jesus Christ. They don't want nothing to do with him. I mean, they just want to live their self-centered, sinful lives, and they want God out of their lifestyles. And this is where we at in this generation. And I believe that these tracks right here are a strong thought provoker, where it will plant that seed inside of their mind, and kind of provoke them to think about reality, because people are out of sync with reality. It's like they are brought up in a lie, stuck in an illusion, out of sync with reality, and the reality is God. And the only way they come into reality is when they give their life to Christ. And Christ will bring them out of the illusion and into what reality is really about. And reality is about a spiritual conflict. It's about heaven or hell for everybody. The Bible says in Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27, that it's appointed once for man to die. And then after that, the judgment. In other words, you have an appointment with death. Every person on earth has an appointment with death. You can absolutely guarantee without a shadow of doubt that you are going to die and that you are going to face the judgment. And if you have rejected Jesus Christ, you are going to face God's rejection for all of eternity. And there's no getting past this point. We are all going to stand before God. We are all going to answer to God. And if we are not born again by the Spirit of the living God, we are going to be cast away into the eternal lake of fire. And I believe right now in this season we moving into, it's such a hard-hearted generation where people are just rejecting God. The devil has so many devices right now to try to attract people away from the gospel of Jesus Christ. I mean, they got all this technology, all these phones, these video games. I mean, these little gadgets all over. I mean, this whole world is satanically designed to make God unattractive. So when you go try to talk to somebody or witness to somebody, they don't want to hear nothing about God. I mean, they caught up in all the little gadgets, that's all the technology that's consuming their mind and their attention. They don't want nothing about God. Why do they want God to come into their life and just rain on their parade? Because that's what God does. He comes into our lives to draw us out of the world. And people right now are stuck in an illusion, blinded by the God of this world. And the God of this world is Satan. And they are alienated and dead in their trespasses and sins. And they are hard-hearted in their hearts. And they need a message right now that's going to pierce the core of their hearts. We need a hard message in this season that's going to shake them up and wake them up and cause them to think about reality, because people are not thinking about reality. And I believe that this track right here, it is a strong thought provoker. I mean, it plants that seed in their mind, and it causes conversation. Like, you can put it on a car in a parking lot, let's say like on the door handle, and a couple comes out, a husband and a wife, and they don't know Jesus Christ, but they put their groceries in the car. Then the husband comes around, he opens the door for his wife. Then he goes around and he sees the track on the door, so he picks it up. They get in the car. Immediately he looks at it, and what he sees, it says, "If I die tonight, where will I spend eternity?" And immediately right there, at that moment, it sparks up a conversation between him and his wife. And they start talking about God. What are we going to do about eternity? And it brings up all kind of questions. Just look at life. Look at all this. And God may use this simple little track to bring a person to believe in Jesus. And God can use anything. God can speak through anything. God can minister through anything of what he chooses to minister through to. So, I truly believe that these tracks are effective. And I use them all the time. This is the only ones that I'll use. This is the only ones that I use. Sometimes when I'm in Walmart, I'll put them in some cases of beer. I'll slip them in the little hole in the cases of beer in Walmart. So when people go to buy beer to go get drunk or have a party, they open it up and they see this. And you never know if it's a backslidden Christian that opens up the case of beer. And immediately he sees this, and God has been dealing with him for weeks to come back to him. And immediately he sees this, and it might be just a tool that God will use to give him that momentum to turn and go back to the Lord. And God can use anything, and I love these tracks right here. These are the only ones that I use, and I wanted to show y'all that just in case maybe one person out there, somebody out there might want some. You can get them at BibleTruthPublishers.com, and the number is BTP 41199. And like I said, I paid $23 for 300 of them. And so that's like 300 people, and plus I had like maybe a little over 100 left. So that's like 400 people that will get this track in their hands. And not all of them's going to receive it, but you never know who's going to receive it. And I believe that these tracks are effective. I believe it does plant seeds, because a lot of times when we in the harvest field, everybody's expecting a crop on plowing day. You see, you got to get out there and you got to plow the fields for Jesus Christ. You got to get out there and plant seeds and plow the field for a harvest. And further down the line, a crop might come up from you planting seeds. Just planting little bitty seeds like this. The Bible says, talking about, Paul says, one plants, one waters, but God gives the increase. So we don't never know how God is going to do something. And God is amazing at what he does. So I just wanted to share that with y'all in case y'all wanted to maybe get some. I believe these tracks are very effective. So y'all be blessed and y'all have a good day today.